Welcome to the Mustang Blueprint. I'm Celie Stockmo, and on behalf of all of our team and everyone at SMSU, we care about your mental health. So today, we brought in an expert here at SMSU in the Counseling Center to get us some more information.
Hi, my name is Amanda Sealing. I'm a justice professor here at SMSU. I appreciate this opportunity very much. And I appreciate Shawna coming and talking to us a little bit today. Could you introduce yourself just a little bit?
Yes, my name is Shawna Ehlenbach. I am one of two therapists at the SMSU Mental Health Counseling Center.
And how long have you been here on campus?
Since March of 2023.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I can tell you're very experienced, and I feel like that's very important. So I know you work here on campus, as we've said earlier. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you do here on campus in the center?
Sure. Diane Steeper is my colleague, and she has been here over 10 years. So she is very familiar with the campus. What we do is meet with students. It can be for mental health. If they are having any struggles, it can be something as minor as I'm having difficulty with my roommate, we're not getting along very well, or I miss home. Can be something as deep, if you will, as suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, thoughts about hurting themselves or others, as well as like lifelong mental health struggles.
And who has access to the Counseling Center?
Any currently enrolled SMSU student.
So what about, can you talk a little bit more about the online students? How would that happen for them?
Yes, since Diane and I are we're only licensed in Minnesota, students on campus need to be physically in Minnesota at the time that we meet, as well as for us meeting with students online. However, we do have a new program that the MSU system is connecting with called Mantra Health, and Mantra offers services available online to our students throughout the MSU system. But for us, it would be the SMSU students, and they have a variety of services available. There are therapists available through Mantra who can meet with students throughout the United States.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about Mantra towards the end of this discussion. Let's talk, if we are talking about students, how do you access the Counseling Center?
Great question. They can either walk down. We're in BA 156. They can also connect with us over the phone, 507-537-7150 to make an appointment, or go to mentalhealth@smsu.edu. We also have a website throughout the campus on the website. And they connect with that on our page. They can complete what's called a CCAPS, and that is a mental health screening. So students don't have to sign up for that, but they can take the screening, and it will show areas in which they are having more struggles. Looks at a variety of concerns such as depression, anxiety, substance abuse, family issues, issues like that.
When you look at the word counseling center, some things come into your mind, what is offered. But I'm wondering, and I think a lot of my classmates, athletes, friends of mine, what services are available in the counseling center?
One thing that we have that is available to everybody, you don't have to be a mental health client, is a Bluetooth-enabled massage chair. It's fantastic.
It is.
We had to try it out just because.
As you should.
Yes. And it's available to anybody. You can just come in and sign up or go online and sign up for a time slot. In addition to that, occasionally we have groups. It depends on the need. Spring semester, things tend to get pretty busy. So we did have one in the fall. And we may start one up again possibly next year. We'll have to kind of see how things are as far as caseloads. We do public speaking, not our favorite for either of us, but we do it. And we face our fears. It's supposed to make things easier, so that's what we're doing. So with that, we can present at tablings and just be available to students and to faculty when they are struggling. There is a faculty program that's through EAP if they're looking at mental health, but we're available for consults and additional support.
That's good to know. I think one of the things that can get scary sounding is the idea of going to counseling. Could you walk us through a little bit about what a typical counseling session would look like if I walked in or if I had a student walk in?
There, unfortunately, is still some stigma with mental health. We do try to combat that. I think we've come a long way as a society, but it's still out there. And sometimes students get the message in their own families of origin that, people don't go to mental health. We deal with things ourselves. Sometimes there's cultural issues, familial issues, whatever the barriers are. But we do want students to know that the services are confidential. There are some exceptions because we are mandated reporters. So if a student was planning to kill themselves, somebody else, if they knew about certain things like that, basically we need to look at safety. But otherwise what they say stays with us unless they sign a release of information and want us to be in contact with somebody. So what they say, we've heard everything, and we're non-judgmental. We're just here to try to help students. So they come in and they would either do an online screening or they can do that in the office, set up an appointment, and then we meet with them for usually about 45 minutes. Initially, we typically do an intake, so that's getting some background information, kind of getting to know each other, building rapport, helping the person hopefully to feel a little bit comfortable and to answer any questions that they might have.
Kind of said by myself, I guess. I think kind of getting to a little bit of a harder topic, and especially in the world today, and especially as COVID and everything, with the passing of an SMSU student athlete this last semester, I feel like it has brought a lot of light to the problem that is suicide and everything that comes along with that. And so I guess one thing I'm wondering is, obviously you are equipped with a lot of tools to understand how to combat that, but even just as just a person, how do you combat when someone comes to you and says, I'm thinking of killing myself, I want to commit that kind of thing?
Yes. We do have crisis availability. Occasionally, when students do have an existing appointment, if we are both busy, we will bump them and just explain to them, we're sorry, there's an emergency. We won't explain what it is or who is coming in. And students have been very understanding about that. But if students would come in, we would work with them, see just where they are emotionally at that time, talk with them about whether they have a plan, whether they have intent, if they're wanting to go through it, if they're feeling safe, what their supports are, what their reasons for living are, if any, what has worked for them in the past, if they've had these similar thoughts before. We really try to help work with the student to build up their supports and to help them, see some hope that things are really hard right now, but they will get better. There are people who care about you, we're here for you, and looking at their additional extended support system. Sometimes we have to do what is called, it's a hold order. And essentially it's transport hold, so that the police will take the student to the emergency room to be assessed for suicidality or homicidal thoughts, potentially if they're actively psychotic. So it's not something we'd like to do, and we try to avoid that. We try to provide services and supports right there. But if we feel that a student is not safe, we want to try to secure that as much as possible.
So we started talking a little bit about Mantra Health, and I'd like to come back to that. So we have counseling available on campus. Can you tell us a little bit about this new program, Mantra Health?
Yes. So all of the MSU system schools are connected with Mantra Health now, and they have a variety of services, which is wonderful. Everything is online, but because they have people from from all 50 states, they can connect therapists with our students who are in other states. So that is fantastic that therapy is available to our students free. There is a limit of 12 sessions through Mantra for therapy, whereas our office doesn't have any limits at this point. So it's more based on what the student is wanting and what we're working on. And that, I should say, is a school year, 12 sessions a school year. In addition, Mantra has a 24/7 crisis line. So students can talk to a trained clinician at any point. From 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day, they have a Connect Now program that's available, and that is in-the-moment support, problem solving with a mental health professional, so the student would connect with them over telehealth. Peer-to-peer support is available through, it's under Mantra they are partnering with a program called Together All, and for that it's an inclusive student-to-student support group of sorts. So they can connect with each other online. Usually they will go into different areas to look at specific topics the students are interested in. For example, I'm an international student and I'm feeling disconnected from the campus, or I've suffered from, bipolar my whole life and I don't know how to deal with that. So it is more directed to what the student is wanting. That is also clinically moderated. So there's a therapist, if you will, kind of hanging out in the background. Sounds a little creepy, but they're just moderating it to make sure that, say, if somebody does say something that's unsafe, they would reach out and work with that person.
Okay.
In addition, Mantra also has something called emotional wellness coaching. So that's short-term, goal-oriented, one-on-one work to do some self-management strategies. Usually that's about 8 to 12 sessions. And there is a self-care component, which is there's short-term, self-guided learning modules, essentially. And that's also where students can look at things like, well, I have trouble regulating my emotions, so I want to learn how to do that better. Or my family has chemical dependency issues, and I don't know how to separate from that.
Sounds like it's very comprehensive.
It is.
We love that. We love that. And if I wanted to access Mantra, how would I do that?
You can go on our website. We have a link to it. Students can also, if you look around campus, there are a number of Mantra signs, and there's a QR code on some of them. Otherwise, they can go to the email. It is smsu.edu/go/mantra.
And I know as a college student, money is always, how am I going to pay? Is this in my tuition? We pay for this?
Yes, great question. Absolutely.
Awesome. And I guess, is there anything else that we've kind of forgotten to ask that's at the front of your head kind of with this sort of thing?
Be aware that we do have informational packets outside of our pamphlets, outside of our office. There is also some information on the SMSU website on our page that outlines some different mental health struggles that people might have, resources, supports. Let's see. And they can take, we talked about the CCAPs already, the mental health screening, and that helps students just get some basic information about, these are some things I'm really struggling with. And just as a reminder to students, you're very strong, you're capable. Mental health struggles aren't something anybody chooses. If we could wish them away, we would.
I say regularly, if I had a magic wand.
Yes.
If only.
People, I think, are very well-meaning, and sometimes we'll say something to a loved one or a friend like, just don't worry about it. It's like, hey, the anxiety's all better. Thank you. Well-meaning, but a little bit misguided, because nobody wants to have mental health struggles, and they are very, very common. Many, many people do. It's not your fault. You, however, can feel better through treatment. Whether that's therapy, whether that is self-learning, and there's a lot of different options. There is psychiatry available also within our community, and if students are feeling like, my depression is just absolutely horrible, I can't get it under control, maybe therapy's helping, maybe it's not, but they need something more. There are services through Western Mental Health Center and Avera Marshall. Those are not covered under the student fee. That would be separate, and it would go through the student's insurance. But if they would like those services, they can either go directly to those agencies to request them, or we can make a referral as long as the student, of course, is open to it and signs a release of information.
Good to know.
I guess now that we've kind of entered into like the big parts of this kind of interview, I wanted to ask a little more questions, kind of more student-based, some things that popped into my mind as we've been speaking. I think as students, we have friends and we notice things, like if I see my friend and I think that going to the counseling center would help them, is there a good way to bring that up or ask that? How do you recommend going about that?
it's good that you're looking out for your friends, and often we do notice things about people that we love. I would come at it from a place of empathy and support. Like, it seems like you're really stressed out lately, or even backing up from that more if that's more comfortable. Now, how are you doing? Seems like this is a really hard semester, or I know you just found out your parents are getting divorced, or whatever is going on with them that you're noticing. If you start really broadly, they can say whatever they want, and recognize too that if they are not comfortable and they shut you down, that's okay. That's just where they're at. You can always offer, though, our services. Say we have this, available on our campus. Just check it out. Do the CCAPs. See how you're feeling. See how you're, where you're doing with that. And otherwise, mantra is great. If students say, "Nope, I don't want therapy," that's okay. They can always do that. The self-care part, the individual learning, or they could just focus on working with a coach.
One thing that I found helpful is offering to walk with them, right? So if I have a student in my office who's struggling, simply saying, "Hey, I'll walk with you over to the counseling center." Sometimes having somebody with you for that big thing that you're dreading helps take some of the weight off.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing I've seen too, is just we aren't meant to go about life alone. I feel like a lot of times, like, we have coaches, there's teachers. I feel like that's just a big thing to bring light to. So, yeah.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. I think just one last thing, I kind of wanted you to just restate, what are the hours for the counseling center?
Yes, we are open Monday through Friday, 8 to noon and 1 to 4:30.
But there is the 24/7 crisis available through Mantra.
Yes.
Excellent.
And students can go on the website anytime, both ours as well as Mantra's, to look at scheduling an appointment, accessing some of the services, and just learning more.
Yeah, I think definitely in the caption of this video, we'll put those numbers that we've talked about, and maybe some links to those websites too, make it easier to access. Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, this has been super enlightening, awesome. I really hope this will reach the audience it needs to. I mean, I think everyone just needs someone to go to, and some people don't have that. So I'm really just happy that this is on our campus, my campus, It's very exciting. And thank you for coming today, Shawna. Thank you, Amanda. And
Absolutely.
we'll see you in the next one.
And everybody has crisis lines.
Yeah.
Like every county in Minnesota has access to a crisis line for mental health. So
You could also take Amanda's adult mental health first aid class. It's a good class.
So now I'm hearing is that I need to sign up for it.
It's a great class. Like, you're not going to know what Candace knows in terms of helping people, but you can get through, that assessment and get them the help that they need.